approximately 50. And when we looked at this data, we actually could narrow in on two groups of drugs and compounds. The first set that inhibits protein translation, including zotatofin. This is a compound from a company called Effector. Paul Warland is the CEO, and it was started in conjunction with a couple of UCSF professors, including Kevon Shokat and Davide Ruggiero. This hits a factor involved in translational initiation from the MAP, which I'll talk about in just a minute. And then the other compound here was ternatinib-4. This is a compound synthesized by Jack Taunton. It hits a protein involved in translational elongation. And interestingly, there's another drug that's actually approved in Europe for multiple myeloma called pledepsin, which hits the exact same protein. And actually, this is now in clinical trials with respect to COVID-19. We're actually working with Effector now, getting zotatofin into clinical trials as well. So this is one class of drugs and compounds that we're very excited about. And then the other class of drugs and compounds hit or are thought to hit. Here's some data that we obtained from both New York and Paris with zotatofin and ternatinib-4. I'll just show you the New York data. I think probably most of you have seen these assays now, but I'll briefly go through this. Where on the x-axis, you're going from left to right, you're increasing the amount of the drug. On the y-axis, we're looking at the effects on the human cells in black, and then the virus in red. So you can see that with ternatinib-4 and zotatofin, you do have potent antiviral effects. You do see some toxicity here. However, as I said before, these actually have already passed toxicity trials in humans. So we don't have to worry about that in humans, or we have to worry about it a lot less. I think what we're seeing here is cytostatic effects, especially here with zotatofin. So these are a couple that we're very excited about. I talked, APLIDIN is another name for pledepsin. So I talked, sorry, I mean, that's, I think, yeah, so pledepsin is APLIDIN, and that is a protein that targets EIF1A, a translation elongation protein. And it is very potent in a laboratory setting. And that's one of the ones that, you know, ternatinib-4, pledepsin, APLIDIN, this is the one of the ones that we're looking at in great deal in combination with remdesivir as well as with other drugs as well. But it looks very, very promising. And what's great is we think we kind of understand the underlying biology of why it's having an effect. And there's ongoing efforts to try to tweak it to make it even more potent because we know the biology. Well, we're very excited about these translation inhibitors. You know, APLIDIN, pledepsin is one. Zotatofin is another, right? And that's, we're working, as I said, with Effector to get that into a clinical trial. I'm hoping that starts this summer. We're also excited about the sigma R1 modulators. So we're trying to figure out which is the best one or two. And this is a work, again, being spearheaded by Brian Shoikat. We're screening a number of these. They all have antiviral effects. And the question is, which is the best one? We're trying to narrow in on that. And then on the kinase inhibitor side of things, the casein kinase 2 inhibitor, I think that company that has that drug, I think they're taking that into clinical trial. I have a call with them later. So that's great. We can just monitor that. But then the P38 pathway as well. We've got some people to reach out to us as well that they're thinking about starting clinical trials on inhibitors of the MAP kinase cascade. And then there's these other kinase inhibitors as well that we're looking at. So those are the kind of ones that we're looking at in isolation, trying to get these into clinical trials, and then in the laboratory setting, doing all the combinatorial work, like some of what you just alluded to in the previous question, to see which ones would be the best. And of course, you could combine genetics with that, right? You could knock out genes, combine it with drugs, or do double knockouts and give you just more insight on the biology, which will be informative with respect to the pharmacology, especially the polypharmacology.